Hey, friend, welcome to the Sunny Side Up podcast. I'm your host, Olivia Janelle, and I'm incredibly grateful that you are here today. Today's episode, we are going to be talking about something that might sting just a little bit. On my previous episode, the people pleasing, you loved that episode. There was like a lot of views on that one. So I decided to kind of make something that is very similar to it on the same topic. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about some ways that you might still be abandoning yourself. It's not intentional, but it's subconscious because a lot of us were taught how to show up for everybody else but ourselves. And I want you to know how you can shift that. So let's just get right to it. What does self-abandonment look like? Self-abandonment doesn't always have to look like chaos. It sometimes looks like this. You say yes when energetically you really don't want to do that thing. And you want to say no. Shrinking your voice just to keep peace or just to stay small. Overcommitting to certain things so that you don't have to feel. Staying busy to avoid your truth, and outsourcing decisions from other people because you do not trust yourself yet. It isn't loud, it's subtle, but it's also exhausting because in each of those different scenarios, I find a piece of myself in them, right? And in order for me to even share some of these things, I have to experience them myself. And when I reflect on my life thinking about it, there have been many years where I thought I was being productive, staying busy just to avoid like what is actually going on, being a good friend, being a strong leader, when really I wasn't pouring into my own cup. I was abandoning myself. And that also is a reflection of like who I am to the core. Just want to make sure my face is being seen. Yes, we're being seen. We are being seen here. In 2025, we are being seen. I just wanted to make sure. But anyways, but yeah, like, you know, I remember a time where I thought I was being productive. So in 2020, I lost my job I was unemployed for a year and a half. And during those times, I was literally just learning about social media marketing, about short form content, all of the things, YouTube. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, okay, well, I was just doing those things, like being busy, being productive. Like I thought I was being productive, but really I was on the verge of burnout. And it's because I was like so actively working towards something that I didn't even know what I really was working towards till a day I came to a conclusion of like, let me just actually start my own business. Instead of pouring into other companies and other businesses, let me just pour into myself, start my own business, start marketing. And that's where I'm here today. But I was disconnected with myself and I was disconnected on like what I actually want in my life. So fast forward to where we're at right now, years later, and I have a very successful business. I have a very promising future. And it's all because of last year pouring into myself, learning about my behaviors, and still, and it's not like you don't stop learning because when you stop learning, that's like when everything else kind of goes to shit. So, like, when I was going through a lot last year, I just really didn't understand like what it is that I wanted. And I had to be very clear and honest with myself. Like, girl, you need to figure that shit out, you know? I had an idea, but it wasn't like concrete, pen to paper type thing. But then I suddenly realized like that's not the way that I want to show up within the world. That's not the way that I wanted to show up just in general, like through businesses, through relationships, through all of that. And the way that you show up in one area is where you show up in all areas. So I had to make a commitment with myself to go through some intense personal development, which I'm extremely grateful for, which led me to be here so that I can share my message with somebody else so that they can also transform themselves. I want you to think of the cost of you constantly leaving yourself. When you abandon yourself long enough, you don't even recognize your own voice. You second guess every decision, you perform instead of lead, you settle for less and call it gratitude. I'm thankful to have this job when really it's like, no. And what you're really doing is you are delaying yourself from the version of you that you say you want to become. And that's why so many of us feel stuck, is because we get the out, We get the external things. We get the clothes, the shoes, the bags, the cars, a person. But then we forget about ourselves. We get into a relationship when really we should be in a relationship with ourselves. But maybe you have been doing the outer work, the hair, the nails, the upkeep, the maintenance, right? But you haven't returned to home of the inside of who you are. So think about it. Think of the cost that occurs and think of the cost that accumulates too over the course of many years. Because it's not just like a one time thing of like, okay, I abandoned myself over here. All right, we're going through life. No, where you show up in one area is where you show up in all areas. So take a look at it. Maybe you can journal. So what I want you to think about is, what does it look like when you choose yourself? And the next thing that I want you to think about is, what does it actually look like when I choose myself? Choosing yourself doesn't mean that you stop caring for others. It means that you stop betraying yourself in the process. And this is what it looks like: listening to your body, letting no be a full sentence, trusting your instincts even though others may not understand, holding your vision even if it's inconvenient for others, honoring your energy, not just your obligations. It's not always glamorous, but it's very powerful. You have to think about it like, when you wake up every single day, you ask yourself, what is my intention for today? What am I leading into today? Yeah, we may have a list of things that we have to do, but instead of saying that we have to do them, we get to do them because we are living in a beautiful life. But if you are someone who is not exactly where you want to be within your life, career, relationships, money, all of those things, just take a step back and think about the intention that you have, that you're leading throughout your day. Because the energy that you start with in the morning is going to be the energy that you're going to carry out through the day. I know, I get it. Like that's some stuff right there. Like I've written some stuff, but like really think about the intention that you are starting within your day. Are you filled with gratitude? I personally believe that yes, we can wake up and we can be very, we can express a form of gratitude, whether it's journaling, whether it's saying it out loud, but honor this time for yourself because this is the most important time of your day that you're going to have with yourself, in the morning and also at night. I'm also thinking about doing something I think which would be really beneficial. I just had that idea, and yeah, we're going to do that. It's going to be a private podcast that we can listen into. It may or may not be video version, but what we're going to do is, it's going to be, you get to listen to it day, night, and you get to rewire your your belief systems. I think, yeah, I'm definitely doing that. This is the exact work I guide people through in the Foundations program. You can't build a confident brand if you are the person that is still yourself. You can't lead powerfully when your own voice feels like a stranger. You don't need another productivity hack. You just need to come back to yourself. And that's where everything begins. Just think about the future version of yourself that no longer abandons themselves because they are people pleasing other people, places, and things. They've outgrown, and they start leaning more into who they are to the core. Because at the end of the day, if you're not yourself, you are pretending to be somebody else, and that's not you. Thank you so much for spending a little time with me today. If this message resonated with you, please send it to somebody whom you love. And if you are ready to stop abandoning yourself and show up fully, you can learn more about the Foundations program in the comment section down below. Until next time, keep choosing yourself, keep shining, and stay sunny side up. I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.